From Communications Center, the University of Texas at Austin, the Longhorn Radio Network presents University Forum. The Forum is a public, interdisciplinary meeting place for the wide-ranging world of ideas, opinion, and analysis. The 60s were times of turmoil and social change in the United States. This week's guest on University Forum rose to national prominence during this period. He is Stokley Carmichael, founder of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee and organizer of the first Black Panther Party. Mr. Carmichael is the co-author with Charles Hamilton of the book Black Power. His latest book is entitled Stokley Speaks. Mr. Carmichael, who now lives in Guinea, is currently organizing the All-African People's Political Party. His remarks were recorded October 11th, 1973, on the University of Texas at Austin campus.
I want to talk tonight about ideologies in a given society. I want to speak about the values. I want to speak about change. I want to speak about capitalism and socialism. I want to speak about revolution. Now, I'm an organizer for the All-African People's Revolutionary Party. Our party is an international party. Its base is in Africa. Our party's goal is Pan-Africanism, which is defined as the total liberation and unification of Mother Africa under scientific socialism. My ideological persuasion is Nkrumahist. I am an Nkrumahist. That means that not only do I have love and understanding of the ideas of Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah, I also think that those ideas put into daily practice is the quickest way for Africans all over the world to achieve their liberation. Nkrumah says that thought without action is empty. Thought without action is empty. Those who from thought processes criticize but have made no concrete action or contribution towards socialism are empty people. Pay no attention to them. Thought without action is empty, and action without thought is blind. Nkrumah says revolutions are made by men who think as men of actions and act as men of thoughts. That's what he says. Thus, if I'm an Nkrumahist, you must be able to see in my daily activity the principles which I hold dear to. Mine is an ideology that is an active ideology. It's not one of thought processes. It must be translated into practical activity. Suffice it to say that I'm African. No need to go into that. That's obvious. It's evident that I'm African. And suffice it to say that I will not allow any force to divide me. I understand that I'm African. I understand that my survival is linked with Africa. And thus I understand that my primary concern must be Pan-Africanism. I understand that clearly. There's no need to discuss that because in this country, for example, there are many Jewish people who live here. They don't know anything about Israel. These Jewish people who are politically better off than Africans in this country, who are economically better off than Africans in this country, who are socially better off than Africans in this country, seem to think that their existence is linked with the state of Israel. Thank you. And if they can support and march for Israel, support Israel, send money to Israel, there should be nothing absurd about the fact that me, an African whose territory is occupied by Israel, Egypt, should also push for my continent, Africa. By not understanding that I'm African, I will let Zionist forces march into my continent and not make a word. I'm African. Egypt is my territory. South Africa is my territory. Guinea-Bissau is my territory. Angola is my territory. My people are scattered all over the world. Until we're unified, we will never be respected. We can get that out of the way, then we can talk about ideology. I just have to get it out of the way, because when you speak, people say such crazy things, ask questions. And what happens is that sometimes when they're incapable of dealing with what you say, they go to ad hominem attacks, I want to clear some air, too. It's not a question of whether I want violence or whether I don't want violence. It is historically determined that there will be violence. End of discussion. So don't ask me whether I'm for it or not for it. I see it. Clear it of all the misconceptions. Each society, every society has an ideology. All societies have an ideology. Ideology, in its intent, is solidarist. Ideology seeks to bring the largest segments of a society together and to channel their energies towards a desired goal. All countries have ideologies, whether the ideology is overt or covert, whether it is seen or unseen, whether it's to be found in the laws of the land or the mores of the society. Each society has an ideology. America has an ideology. America has an ideology. America is a capitalist country. We must understand that ideology. I went to school in an American university, and though capitalism governed my life, I knew very little bit about it if I had stayed in that university, because the American universities teach not about capitalism. But it's important for you to understand it. Many young men your age a few years ago went to Vietnam fighting and dying for the ideology, not even understanding that that's what they were doing. That's the students. As the world is heading more and more for crises, America will need more and more to step up its repressive forces. It will call on you. I don't mind you fighting against me. No problem with that. I just don't want you not knowing what you're fighting for. So I come tonight to try and help you understand. Don't disagree with me. Just try and understand what I say. If it's truth, then you deal with it and leave me out of it. I have nothing to do with it. Each society has an ideology. Inside of the ideology is to be found the nature of the belief of man. Inside of ideology is to be found what the society thinks is the nature of man. The ideology manifests itself in the political, social, and moral institutions of the society. Inside the ideology is to be found the value systems of the society, what the society holds dear, what the society fights for, what the society is willing to strive for, and what the society is willing to die for. Inside the ideology is to be found the key inward identity of the group. This ideology is extremely important. It's a cohesive force that binds people together. And it must be clearly and properly understood and analyzed, especially if we're talking about change in America. You know, people talk about revolution all the time. Very few people understand it. Revolution works in dialectical processes. Of course, revolution is not mystical. It's not religious. Revolution follows scientific principles. Revolutions follow scientific principles. These principles are universal and abiding. You have revolution when you take the universal and abiding and apply it to a particular situation at a particular time and place. I say that revolution works by the dialectical processes. I see many people in America who say they're revolution, and they say, I'm anti-capitalist, I'm anti-racist, I'm anti-imperialist, and they stop there. In order to be revolutionary, one must not just be against an existing social order, one must also be for a new social order. Thus, a revolutionary is not just against, a revolutionary is also for. A revolutionary is just not about destroying, a revolution is about building. A revolution has to be for and against something if we are to see the scientific principle at work. If I'm against America and I'm anti-imperialist and this is America and I fight against America and I destroy America, but I have no new system, anarchy will arise. State of anarchy is not revolutionary. All societies must have law and order. So I'm for law and order. I'm for law and order coupled with justice. Law and order coupled with injustice, very dangerous. Many contradictions inside the society. It'll never go forward. Never go forward, yes. I'm for law and order. I say the revolutionary must not just be against, he must be for, because here you will see the dynamics of revolution. I have a system. I am against this system. I want my system to wage war with this system so that my system would prevail. Thus I say that it becomes revolutionary because I'm for this, I'm against this, and I'm fighting to have this get where this is, and no two objects can occupy the same space at the same time. Thus, I have told you my goal. I'm for Pan-Africanism, and I'd like to take it out of the African situation and put it on a more universal situation where you can see it clearly. You're students in America. You must understand where America is going. When a capitalist country is in crises, there are only two paths for us to take, either socialism or fascism. Only two. Whether or not you fight depends upon you. I know that when it becomes fascist, I ain't got no struggle. I ain't got no choice. I ain't got no alternative. I got to fight. I know that. So it's clear for me. So don't try and make anything. I'm fighting. I ain't got no choice. I see it scientifically, and my history shows I've been fighting, and my history tells me I better keep on fighting. So I'll keep on fighting. Whether or not you fight is the question that is here at stake tonight, not me. Just know that I'm fighting. Whether you think I'm crazy or not, I'm going to do it. That's all. Till the day I die, till the day I die. If I die tomorrow, if I die 100 years from now, I know I'll be struggling till I die. So I ain't got no question about it. Just organize myself to struggle. Revolution follows principles. I tell you, the revolutionary must be for. I'm against capitalism. I'm for scientific socialism. The revolution has to destroy and to build at the same time. America makes it appear as if all the revolutionary does is destroy. No, the revolutionary must destroy, but he must build at the same time. As a matter of fact, if we understand revolution, we would see the revolutionary is preoccupied with building. He's preoccupied with creating. And it is here that we see the beauty of revolution. The revolutionary comes before the masses. He tells them there are no limitations to man. Man can do whatsoever he will. Yes. He comes and he liberates the creative forces of the masses. He liberates their creative genius. He combines the force and pushes it together and creates. He must destroy. He must destroy, but he's not preoccupied with destroying. As a matter of fact, we can say that in the work of a revolutionary, destruction is an inevitable consequence of his construction. Yes, he has to destroy. He has to destroy, but he's not doing that alone. America tries to confuse people, you know. When all they see is they're burning. They don't say what they're trying to build. People are not crazy. They just don't burn. Oh, revolution is trying to build. Want to build socialism. Want to build socialism. Want to build socialism. Revolution deals with change. Many people who talk about revolution don't understand change. I think we need to talk about change a little, just a little, so we can understand it. Now, if we know anything about life, we know that all things change. Everything changes all the time. If we can say anything about life and be absolutely correct, if we wanted to make a philosophical truism on life, we could say that change is both permanent and constant. It occurs all the time. While I'm speaking to you, some 300 million cells of my body are being shed away and new ones are replacing it. The same process occurs while you sit and listen. Everything changed. We know that we changed because we knew we were small and grew, and that growth is not by spurts. It's constant and permanent. All things change all the time. Change is both permanent and constant. On that we find very little disagreement. The disagreement occurs when we discuss how does change come about. There's only really one way for change to come about, and that is through the dialectical processes. That is through conflicts, opposite forces conflicting against each other. That is the only way change comes about. We know that scientifically. We know that scientifically because we know everything changes. I change, you change, this changes, the podium changes, the mic, everything changes. This podium, left to stand for any length of time, would decompose itself because of the changes that are occurring inside of it. And the changes are occurring through dialectical processes because we know scientifically that each entity contains molecules, and these molecules have protons and electrons. And it is these protons and electrons conflict with each other that new changes come about. Thus we know, if we know anything about life, that all things have negative and positive characteristics. All things have negative and positive characteristics. It can't just have only negative. If it does, it's not living. It can't just have only positive. If it does, it's not living. It must have negative and positive. The negative may be dominant, as in the case of America. But as dominant as the negative is in America, there is some positive there. I know it. It's hard to find, but it's there. It's there. We must look for it. All things have negative and positive. If one wants to be revolutionary and one wants to bring about change, it becomes a job of the revolutionary to analyze each entity, analyze every aspect of life, look for the positive elements, combine the positives together, and wage war against the negative. So if you want to understand, you must look always for the positive, get the positive, collect it, and wage war with the negative. That's how change comes about. That's how change comes about. You have two types of changes, evolutionary and revolutionary. Evolutionary change comes about as a natural process from the same basic assumptions. Revolutionary change comes about when there's conflict of values. Conflict of values. Conflict of values. America is a capitalist country. I want to, with you very briefly, look at some of the characteristics and definition of capitalism. I can't give it all to you in the short time allotted to me, so there's no need to say, you didn't do this. No, I can't. What I hope to do is to just give you some of the characteristics and some of the definitions and what I think is coming based on what I see and understand about capitalism and for socialism also. And I hope that I will stimulate you to want to do some research on your own, some study and some work around these systems. If I can do that, then I will have been satisfied. I don't want you to agree with me. I don't even care if you disagree with me, but if I've stimulated you enough to do some serious research, work, and study around capitalism and socialism, I will have been satisfied. I will have been satisfied. All right. Capitalism is a backward system. Capitalism is a barbaric system. Capitalism is a vicious system. Capitalism is an anti-human system. And capitalism is a downright stupid system. Having said these things, it is my burden and my responsibility to prove it for you, not only in theory, but in contact reality. And I want to do concrete reality in America. I don't want to take you all over. I want to bring it right home so all of us can see it and understand it. The sole motivating force of capitalism is profit. The sole motivating force of capitalism is profit. I know in your books now, you must understand what I say will sound very strange to you. Because under capitalism, you have what is known as illusions of bourgeois democracy, which is to say they cover up all the nonsense they talk about. So I'm going to talk about the real thing and then bring it up for you, okay? I say that the sole motivating force under a capitalist system is profit, money, just money. Money, just get it. And this develops into an attitude that nobody asks you how you get your money. Nobody does. They just ask you how much you got. And listen to this. Listen to this. The more you get, the less they dare ask you how you get it. Yeah. I was on the airplane the other day. A little lady was sitting next to me, and she was reading, I think, Newsweek or Time or One Business Week, one of those. And it said, Rockefeller's 3-year-old son is a billionaire. And she said, oh, isn't that nice? I said, yeah, he's a hard-working fella. He's only 3. They don't ask. But it's understood because it's institutionalized. See, it's institutionalized. It has to be that way. If we wanted to define the prime motivating force of capitalism, and if we wanted to borrow a phrase from Malcolm X, which people got upset about, we could say that under capitalism, the sole initiating force is money. Get money, more money, get money by any means necessary. Just get money. Just get money. Now that's understood. They must understand it carefully now because it affects everybody. I tell you, the sole motivating force under capitalism is profit. It works so much, just between you and I, we ain't gonna tell nobody outside this hall. Most students in America go to school because they want to make more money. Don't tell nobody. But we're going to examine everything. We're going to examine it clearly and see how it fits into a picture. Yes. It affects you. Believe me. Most of them go to school just for money. No other reason. Yes. Now, in your textbooks, your government and sociology courses, they call it individual initiative. And when you have individual initiative, you are rewarded with more money. Yes. Yes. The sole motivating force is profit, money. And the systems become so warped with money that nothing is held sacred under a capitalist system. Everything is sacrificed for the dollar bill. Everything. Nothing is held sacred. When I'm in America in February, I can tell you when it's George Washington's birthday. I pick up the local newspaper, all of them across the country, and they say, George Washington's birthday saved! Yes. Everything, nothing is held sacred. Even the father of the country, whatever that means, his birthday sale. That's when you know it. Time to sell. Money, profits, nothing is held sacred. Nothing. The capitalist system is an exploitative system because in order for it to function, there must be exploitation of man by man. This exploitation comes about because labor and capital are in constant conflict inside a capitalist system. And it is through the exploitation of labor that the capitalists begin to accumulate their wealth. I will explain everything. I'm just using the phrases, but I'll give concrete examples. I have to do that because your students, if I don't tell it to you right, I know you'd attack me, and I don't want that. I want discussion. I want discussion. Yes. All right. In order to understand capitalism, we must say that a capitalist is someone who owns and controls the means of production. A capitalist is someone who owns and controls the means of production, and that's the only definition for a capitalist. Now, there are some people who support the interest of capitalism. They're not capitalists. There are some people who fight for capitalism. They're not capitalists. There are some people who will advocate capitalism, but they're not capitalists. They're, in fact, lackeys of capitalism. And the reason is because they don't understand the situation in which they're involved. And they're advocating a very system that is exploiting them. And they don't even know it. They don't even know it. No, it's only the man who owns and controls the means of production, him and him only, he is the capitalist. And he is the one who gains all the profits. And he gains the profits because he has the capital and people must come and work for him. And from their sweat, he collects certain profits which go into his pocket. Let me give you a quick example. Let's say that I'm a capitalist. Let's say I'm a capitalist, but now you must understand we're role-playing. Well, we're role-playing, obviously, because we say that in order to be a capitalist, one must own and control the means of production. And very few black people own and control the means of anything, let alone the means of production. So there are very, very few, if any, black capitalists. Now, there may be some misdirected lackeys, or maybe some, or more appropriately, as Mao Zedong says, running dog lackeys of capitalism. There may be some, but we must be clear. Let's say I'm a capitalist. Let's say you're my workers. And let's say that we make shirts. Okay, we make shirts. I'm the capitalist. I own this place. You don't know me. You never see me. I never even come into this plant. It's too dirty. I have a watchdog. He watches over you. He watches over my interest. And he's well-trained. I have him properly because he loves money more than he loves people. And I pay him more money than I pay you. So your foreman, he really watches over you. He watches over my interest properly. That's the man you know. Let's say I make shirts. Let's say it costs me 50 cents for cotton, 50 cents for upkeep of my machinery. That's $1. And I pay you $1 for every shirt you make. So it costs me $2 to make a shirt. $2. Now you must remember, I'm a capitalist. President Sekou Toure, President Ahmed Sekou Toure of Guinea, leader of the African Revolution, vanguard African revolutionary leader, says that revolution knows no sentimentality. Yes, no ideology does. It's all scientific. So under capitalism, the sole motivating force is profit. You make the shirt, I give you $1, it costs me $2. I sell the shirt for $5. There's a profit of $3 make. I take the $3 and put it in my pocket. Understand it carefully. I have not labored. You have labored. You have sweat. You have toiled. You have made the shirt. It is your sweat that produced it. I pay you $1. I sell it for $5, and $3 goes into my pocket. If you wanted to see how vicious capitalism is, we can say the real viciousness of capitalism lies in the fact that those who labor do not enjoy the fruits of their labor. Yes. Not only that, we can say in America, not only do those who labor not enjoy the fruits of their labor, but those who enjoy the fruits of the laboring masses, those who do not themselves labor. Yes, it's a vicious system. I can see it clearly because I'm an African, because I'm a black man. I don't see it because I'm black or because I'm African, but I see it because I'm at the bottom of the society. I know capitalism better than anybody. I have suffered under its most acute form, slavery. And here's where you can see the viciousness of the system. Under slavery, I was forced to work. I toiled and I sweated, and I have not and do not and cannot enjoy even the fruits of my very labor for building this country. It's a vicious system. I must tear it down. I have no alternative. Now let's say that you're my workers. I'm still giving you the example. You must watch what is known as the spiral economy under capitalism. Watch it carefully and understand it well. Understand it well. You are workers. You're workers. You're working in a factory. You begin to see your exploitation quickly. You're thrown into a social milieu where you're working together. You can see the direct exploitation. It's easy for you. As a matter of fact, for example, one day you go to buy a shirt, because look here, I'm exploiting you. I mean, I make $3 off of every shirt that you make. Every shirt you make, I make $3. But not only that, when you want to buy a shirt, you got to come to me. And I paid you $1, and you have to pay me $5. But you're workers. And here's something you cannot forget. No force on earth can stop the rising consciousness of a people. No force on earth. Your consciousness begins to rise. Your consciousness begins to rise. You go downtown to buy a shirt, and you say, I know that shirt. I'm the one who messed up the sleeve. How much is the shirt? Man said $5. You say, $5? I've been asking that man for, he's only paying me $1. No, we got to do something. So you start mumbling. Yes. You don't get strong enough, you're just mumbling. And you get enough strength to see my foreman, you say to him, we want higher wages. Higher wages, yes. The foreman comes to see me, he says, the workers want higher wages. So later for the workers. Foreman comes back and said, no higher wages. But your consciousness is rising and no force on earth can stop it. So you strike. Right on. You strike. You bring my machinery to a halt. We set up negotiations. We argue back and forth. We talk a while. Then I say to my foreman, okay, pay them $2 for every shirt they make. You are elated. You have won a victory. There has been an increase in wages. You sing praises to your union. You come back. Yesterday you were making $1. Today you're making $2. You are happy. Victory at last. Yes. I'm a capitalist. That's what I am. Ain't no sentimentality in what I do. Profit is the sole motivating force in my system. If I don't have profits, or even if I cut down on my profits, the system will become sluggish. Yeah, there's no individual initiative. Yeah. I must have it. Yesterday it cost me $2 to make a shirt. Today it cost me $3. Yesterday I sold the shirt for $5. When it was costing me $2, I made a profit of $3. Today, if I sell the shirt for $5, I get $2 profit. I have $1 cut down, and the system will become sluggish. I need individual initiative. The next time you see the shirt on the factory, which used to cost $5, it cost me $2, then now costs me $3, it will cost $8. Yeah. Watch it carefully. Watch it carefully. Wages jump, prices increase. Wages jump, prices increase. Wages jump, prices increase, and it's going to blow. That's why Nixon's running around talking about freeze prices, freeze wages. No, Nixon, freeze capitalism. That is the problem. Freeze it. Capitalism. Capitalism. I tell you it's a vicious system. I tell you it's a backward system because every time it reaches the top about to blow, there's only one thing that saves the economy, and that's W-A-R, war. That's all. War. Don't take my word for it. Read the history of this country that is known as America, and you will see that every 20 years, this country has had a major war. Yes, read it. And this unnatural system, capitalism, you know, you have sociology professors, they call themselves that, and they try to make hypotheses based on capitalism. And the other day I was looking at television, one of those jive old shows, I was flipping the conversation, and I heard this dude say, well, you know, it's man's nature that he must fight every generation. Yeah. Isn't that stupid? I mean, no. Man wants to live in peace. Man don't want war. Man wants peace so much that man will make war to have peace. That's me. Yes, it's a vicious system. Not only do they extract the labor of the people, but in order to make high profits, they look for any possible means of making profit. Thus, they will drop the quantity and the quality of the goods and raise the prices. It's a fact. A few years ago, I used to buy Coca-Cola this big for 10 cents, drink my Coca-Cola, turn my bottle in, get 2 cents deposit, and buy some gum. The other day, I was running through the airport quickly. I said, lady, let me have a Coca-Cola. I dropped a dime. She said, 15 cents. I put 15 cents. She gave me a bottle this big. Quantity decreased. Prices went up. More profits. More profits. I used to buy chewing gum. For a nickel, I get 6 pieces. The other day, I tried it. She said 10 cents. I gave her 10 cents. She gave me 4 pieces. Quantity goes down. Prices go up. It's getting so bad, I tell you, the toilet paper is getting thinner and the prices keep rising. It's very backwards. It's a backward system. It's a very backward system. You must come to understand it and look at it carefully. It's extremely backward. It's so backward that I could say things about America. Oh, why don't I just do that? Let me make two truisms for you. I want to show you how backward capitalism really is, because you have to understand it. Now, capitalism, all the scientific knowledge that it has, it never uses it for the benefit of the people. As a matter of fact, it uses it against the people. Now, I want to make 2 truisms and show how true what I've just said is. Listen to it carefully and understand it. Because what they do is they try to make things cheaper to make more money. In 1945, for example, if you were driving a car and you hit a tree, the tree would fall. In 1974, if you're driving a Cadillac and you hit a bicycle, the Cadillac might fold. Now let me clarify it for you by putting 2 truisms together to show you how truly backward the capitalist system is. The first statement I could make, it's a truism, it's about America. America is the most scientifically advanced country in the world. Truism, you know what a truism is. It's a statement that's right any way you put it, inside out, under any time, circumstances. Yes, America is the most scientifically advanced country in the world. That is undeniable. Second truism, America made for her people in 1945 better cars than she does in 1974. Backward society. Here's the real backwardness of the society. Here's a society that has scientific knowledge. Here's a society that has technical skills. Here's a society that can build a car that will last 20 years, a safe car. But rather than doing that, America takes the technological skills, take the scientific knowledge that comes from the sweat of the people, takes this knowledge, take these skills, and try to figure out how to build a car that will break down every 3 years, so you got to buy another car. Backward system. Backward system. Backward. It's a backward system. The system doesn't even care about the people inside its country. If America wasn't so money crazy, if she would recognize the value of man, she would be building decent cars to at least ensure the safety of her people. Rather than do that, they build cars that as soon as you have an accident, it's death. If it's not death, it's hospital, more money, somebody will be exploiting you somewhere along the line. If the car doesn't have an accident, it's sure to break down in 6 months. Mechanics will make some more money. They sell some more parts on you. Every aspect of it is just wringing you and wringing you and wringing you dry. It's a backward system. Rather than taking the technological skills and the scientific knowledge that it has at its fingertips and help people, I tell you, it uses it to exploit people. Capitalism is an unplanned system. It's a system that knows no scientific planning beyond that than its own profit motive. We want money. Any way we can get it, we want money. Yes. People cry about pollution. Pollution is not a problem. Pollution is only a symptom of a backward system, capitalism. People cry about women's liberation. Women's inequality is not the problem. It's only a symptom of backward capitalism. That's all it is. Thus, the problem must be attacked for what it is. The white youth in this country are being misdirected to talk nonsense rather than facing up and look at the realities of the system in which they exist and understand that the peoples of the world are trying their best to crush that system and throw it into the dustbin of history. You have a responsibility to understand it. I told you when I began that many of your older brothers perhaps went to Vietnam. They fought and they died there. They died for nothing. They didn't know what they were dying for. Not wrong for you to die, but at least you must know what you're dying for. America is heading for more serious problems in Vietnam. It was only the beginning. It was only the beginning. You will be called upon to support the system. You will be called upon to carry out the wishes of the system. You have to be clear about what your stand is. You have to be crystal clear. I would like to propose that you look at me at scientific socialism. I want you to look at it carefully. I want to propose it as an alternative way just for you to think. I know it's too much to talk about it now, but just so you begin to think and say, oh, there's another way. Socialism is entirely different from capitalism, entirely different. It is, in fact, diametrically opposed to capitalism. Socialism is diametrically opposed to capitalism because they have different value systems, In America, man is just concerned with money. Money is the center of the stage. Everything is money. Money, money, money. Yes. Man is even subordinate to money. This is absurd. President Stokley Ture says it is man who creates money, not money which creates man. Thus it is man that we must focus our attention on, its intelligence. In socialism, the primary motivating force is man. Man. We do things for man. We want man to have better civilization. Man is that which we struggle for. Man is that which motivates us. Doing good things for man. That is what motivates us under socialism. Oh, I know you can't go for it because I know what they tell you. Oh, what Carmichael said is good. Carmichael is utopian. Carmichael is idealistic. That can never happen. Man can never work for man. And the reason why they say that is because you must examine what they say is the nature of man. What is the belief in this society of the nature of man? The reason why man can't work for man, because in America, the nature of belief is that man is basically evil. Yes. Stupid assumption. An absurd and backward assumption. Yes, man is basically evil. Man is basically greedy. Power corrupts. Why does power corrupt? Because man is basically evil. I want to show you under a capitalist system, because you're locked in, you really are locked in. It's an airtight system. But you must pass it and look at it. Under capitalism, religion becomes a tool in the hands of capitalism and forces its ideology to support capitalism. Christian religious philosophy tells me that when I came out of the womb of my mother, when they cut the umbilical cord, when I said, I was born in sin. Yes. It tells me that man by nature is a sinner. Thus, if you have religion telling you that man by nature is a sinner, and the capitalist philosophy telling you that man is basically evil, there's no need to fight. It makes sense. Even Leibniz can crystallize it for us. Since man is basically evil, capitalism is the best of all possible evil systems that we can have. Thus, by ideology deciding for you what is the basic nature of man, by imposing upon you its beliefs about the nature of man, it demobilizes you from fighting against capitalism. You must analyze it carefully. It has a lot to do with your life. Really, it does. Nobody wants blood, but you have to watch it carefully because where the world is heading, there's no stopping. No stopping. So you are responsible. You are to be the youth of this country. You are to be its leaders. You must look at it carefully and understand it. You must understand what this is. Man is not basically evil. Man is neither basically evil nor basically good. Man has, like all things, good and bad characteristics. Man has love and man has hate. Man has selfishness and man has altruism, joy and sadness. Everything is opposite. Depending upon how the society is organized, The society will either elicit the negative characteristics or the positive characteristics. Depending upon how the society is organized, it will either elicit the negative characteristics or the positive characteristics. Capitalism, being a backward society, dominantly negative, elicits the negative characteristics from man. Let me give you an example. We know that man has lust. When I say man, I mean woman too. I'm saying it in the generic sense. I'm saying it just like that. We know that man has lust. I'm saying woman too because she got lust. Right. We're saying man has lust. And lust is a negative characteristic which must be controlled. America, where nothing is held sacred except the dollar bill, America has turned sex into a commodity. Yes. And I'm not talking about prostitution, because that's a little bit of money, the type of money I'm talking about. What they call sex is really lust, but leave it at sex. I tell you that what they do is they use sex to elicit you to buy their products, to enjoy whatever, anything. They just throw sex at you. It permeates the society, and they use it as a way to entrap you. If you want to make money in a movie, have a man and a woman make love in the bathtub. The more erotic they act, the more people will come. Yes. Pornography is thrown at you. Not only is it thrown at you in this overt way, but in worse ways, it's thrown to you even more subtly. And that's the dangerous part of it. I tell you, it elicits this negative characteristic, lust. I can't hardly look at television without seeing sex, even during commercial time. The other day, I was running through the living room, and I saw a woman with some toothpaste on a toothbrush. She says, I use Ultra Bright because it gives me a sexy smile. Yeah. A few minutes later, I was coming back. There was a woman in the garden cutting roses or something, and she says, I use Geritol all the time. And then along came my husband and said, my Geritol baby. Mwah. Yes. Sex. It's being elicited all the time. The other day in Montana, I was driving and I saw a billboard. It said, are you a leg man? They were advertising turkey. Sex. Since America plays on sex in order to turn it into a money-making activity, the society becomes promiscuous. And as the society becomes more promiscuous, those who are incapable of controlling lust move to rape. Thus rape is up the onswing in the country. Rape is increasing. And they say the reason rape is increasing is because the courtroom doesn't have good liberal rooms for women. Nonsense! Rape is underdeveloped because sex is a commodity which is used and thrown, bombarded with the people 24 hours a day. Yes. I tell you, it depends upon what you do with it. Look at Africa. In Africa, our sisters move around with hardly any clothes even today, and there's no case of rape. I wonder what would happen if right here... I just wondered. Thus, depending upon how the society is organized, will depend upon whether or not it elicits the negative characteristics or elicits the positive characteristics. Since capitalism seeks to make money by any means necessary, it constantly elicits the negative. It starts off by saying man is basically negative. Thus, you're lost from the jump. Socialism understands that man is positive and negative. It understands once value systems are properly organized, it can continue to pull the positive characteristics from man and build onward toward civilization and to world peace, which is man's goal. Yes, man can be motivated to fight for man. Man can be motivated to give contributions to man, but it has to do again with the backward society, capitalism, because in capitalism the only thing you see is money. You can't do anything, you can't get no money, you're not going to do it. So the great contributions go by the wayside. They're not even recognized. There's no price on them. I give the example all the time. I don't know the man who built the skyscraper, the Empire Building. I guess he did something good. I imagine he made a whole lot of money for building that building. I don't know him. I don't know how much money he's made. And he's had very little effect, if any, on my life. At least I know he's had no conscious effect. Certainly must have some effect. I know Malcolm X. He never made a penny, but his contribution to me is heavy. Yes, heavy. Yes. You can't count his contribution in pennies and cents. He couldn't see immediate rewards, but he knew where he was going. He was working for humanity. Yes. This is a real crucial point in America. There is no humanity. There is only the dollar bill. Man is subjected to humanity. That's why you have the contradictions. Under socialism, the people own and control the means of production, and the profits derived from their labor is returned to them in the forms of good schools, better housings, better hospitals. I live in Guinea. We're not a rich country. We're a very poor country. Of course, we're rich. We're the richest continent in the world. We only have 2 universities in our country. But every student who goes to that university scot-free. He doesn't pay a penny. His tuition is paid. His books are paid. His fees are paid. And at the end of the month, he's even given a stipend in his pocket. Yes. We don't have the money America has, but we can afford to educate our people with whatever means we have because we have an understanding of man. We have an understanding of man. We know what his nature is. This is the crux of the point that you must understand in the capitalist philosophy. You must deal with it yourself because it's saying that you too are basically evil. Nobody can say that about me. A woman won't try that with me. I told you crazy. I'm not basically evil. I'm trying to do good. I don't know what's wrong with you, lady. Maybe you evil. That's all right, but I'm good. I can't let anybody define me because in the struggle we must all define ourselves. That's the struggle. Socialism is a planned economy. It's planned. It's not unplanned. It's thoroughly and properly planned under scientific guidelines. We have X number of people here. We need X number of schools, X number of houses, X number of hospitals, X number of this, X number of that. The profit goes back to meet the needs and the aspirations of the people. It does not go into the pockets of a few people. Socialism, its few characteristics, its definitions. Capitalism, its few characteristics, its definitions. The little I've said about change, and now I'd like to conclude. I throw them at you. Our time is pressing. Otherwise, we'd have more time. I just threw these out because I want you to do some thinking about it. Now, I want you to know that I know socialism is going to win. I ain't got no doubt in my mind about that. None. Not the slightest. Because I examine things very carefully. And I see that the more capitalism moves ahead, at the faster pace, the more she does things which she has to do in order to stay alive, is the more she builds the contradictions. And the more she brings about her own downfall. I want to talk to you particularly about Africa in the few minutes that's left. Because America is focusing attention now on Africa, the richest continent on the face of the earth. Yes. And America knows that in order to recoup her losses, she must step up her exploitation in Africa. In order to do that, she will call for manpower. You may come with her. I welcome you. Come. Because I tell you that what little Vietnam did to America is nothing to what Africa is going to do to this America. I tell you that with my continent knocked in on every side, with European settlers on South Africa, with European settlers occupying Mozambique and Angola, with European settlers occupying Guinea-Bissau, with European settlers occupying Egypt, I am not worried. My people are going to win. I know that. I know that. I know my people are going to win because in a revolutionary struggle is justness which decides a war. Mao Zedong said quite properly and quite correctly, it is not technology that decides a war, it is the will of the people that decide the war. The Vietnamese people proved that properly. They kept saying time and time again, America, we will defeat you because ours is a just cause. And the Vietnamese people thoroughly, before the eyes of the world, cleanly and properly defeated American imperialism because theirs was a just struggle. The Palestinian people say all the time, Zionism, we will defeat you because ours is a just struggle. We will get back our land, and the Palestinian people will defeat America. Will defeat it. You are blocked out from the world processes that go on, but the world is sweeping towards socialism. They're vying and reaching and wanting to get their hands on America for the blood that she's committing in your name all over the world. The people of Chile who are fighting now look to America, and they see America as their enemy. They know that African people in this country have made a clear decision. We ain't no part of it. We're fighting against it. Going to keep on fighting. Decisions must be made by everyone. Elbridge Cleaver said a few years ago, you're either part of the problem or part of the solution. He was correct in understanding that there's no riding the fence. It's clear dialectical process. Either you're for it or you're not for it. It's as simple as that. And there's no sentimentality involved in it. Whether I like America or don't like America, America is going to fall because of the inevitable contradictions set off by capitalism. My only job is to try in every way I can to hasten that downfall and to bring about the correct. I say it properly and clearly. I'm not afraid to tell you the truth, because America has to be transformed if it is to function. If it is to function, I look every day and see America heading clear towards fascism. I'm not worried. You should be worried, because I know what I have to do. You may not know what you have to do, and thus you are really the ones who have to worry. My final example, I told you I live in Guinea. We're not rich, we're very poor. Of course, we're richest continent in the world. Even in Guinea, we're rich. We have 1/3 of the world's bauxite. We have diamonds. We have lead. We have copper. We have ore, which we haven't even touched yet. But we're poor. If you come to my country, you'll see people wearing torn shirts and tattered pants. We produce sandals in Guinea. They're plastic sandals. They're not very strong. They break every 2 weeks or so. We make some matches. You have to strike 4 to get one lit. We're struggling. We're not worried. We know we're going to get there. But as poor as we are, we don't have medical facilities at our hands. We don't even have enough doctors to take care of our people. We don't have enough medicine for the masses of our people. And certainly we don't have the scientific technology and understanding and skills that America has around medicine. But if I'm sick in Guinea, in the most remote part of my country, if I'm sick in Guinea, in the bush of Guinea, if I go to a doctor, the doctor must take care of me until I am well, free of charge. The government pays him. If I'm sick in America, Lord knows I'm afraid to get sick in America. I'm afraid to get sick in America. If I get sick in America, I think it was in Jet magazine I was reading about 2 weeks ago that Reverend Jesse Jackson's son had an accident. I think he broke an arm or something. And they were rushing him to the hospital. And I think he and his wife both forgot their money. And when they got to the door, Reverend Jesse says, my son is sick. I've got to take him. Lady says, down payment. He said, but my son. Lady says, down payment. He said, but lady, look, my son. She said, down payment. If you ain't got no money, your son can't get treated. Think about it. I want you to think about it now because it's a crucial point. You're students. These doctors who carry out these laws came out of these institutions which you passed through, and they were thoroughly inculcated with philosophy, with capitalist philosophy, till they don't even recognize it. Today you find medical doctors who swear an oath to help protect and take care of the sick, organizing themselves to stop poor people from getting medicine so they can make more money off the sickness of the people. Tell you this situation must be taken in hand and you must look at it and examine it because you are students. The difference between you and the students in Guinea is that in Guinea they go to school because they want to take care of men. In America they go to school because they want to make money. You must fight to change this. I thank you.
That was Stokley Carmichael, founder of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. His address was sponsored by the Afro-American Culture Committee of the University of Texas at Austin Student Union and by the University of Texas Black Organization. His remarks were recorded in October 1973 on the UT Austin campus. Mr. Carmichael's views do not necessarily reflect those of the University of Texas at Austin, the producers, or this station. You've been listening to University Forum. Producers, Mike August and Stuart Wilbur. This program is produced and distributed by Communication Center, the University of Texas at Austin. This is the Longhorn Radio Network.